Hey, I'm the
Oh,
Beer Trap. My name is Ian. I travel the country looking for good times and great beers. And Sean's with us as always. Show
can
us
you
where the
show
campus
me where the
is.
campus is?
Okay.
Yes,
You
he
lost
is.
me on that one. Sorry.
That's fine. That's for a very specific set of five people.
Nice. All right. Well, we have kind of a different kind of show tonight. We're actually not live. We had a little technical difficulties. We're going to figure that out, but we just decided to go ahead and record the show and put it all on later.
Yeah.
So we also invited anybody who wanted to come hang out and dish it with us. Come on up. Come on and see what we can learn you on.
Right. And
Anyway.
I have the screen up, so hopefully anyone that wants to come on, I'll have an eyeball on.
Yeah. Keep an eye out for you.
Yeah.
Anyway, the beers I picked tonight really are inspired by my trip down basically the Georgia 400 corridor there. So we have a beer from Alpharetta. We have a beer from Roswell, and we have a beer from Sandy Springs today. We have we'll go in that order this evening. I think we'll start in Alpharetta with the Jekyll Hop Gang Diggity. They call it a Southern IPA, or as Beer Advocate would say, that it's a American IPA. And then we'll go into the Gate City, the Fast Fjord. Kind of interesting. It's a Norwegian style IPA. And then we have Pontoon Brewing's Das Labyrinth. It's a Mausen to continue on with the Oktoberfest. I went a little different with that. But anyway, so technically, this would be probably the last Oktoberfest of the season, or like beer of the season in Germany. But I think we'll continue it on and keep doing the Oktoberfest style beers for the rest of the month.
Yeah, man, this is
Till
America. We don't know what
Halloween.
October means.
October. We're still drinking them.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh, I just dropped an ice cube.
Yeah.
Is
Let's
that
start
you're
with
ready
the
to
first one.
start with the first one? All right. And I do apologize for the weird technical difficulties. Both YouTube and Facebook are like changing stuff. No.
Yeah.
Okay. So that just
Go
makes
after
me want to
yourself
try
with
this
that.
beer.
This is the Hop Dang Diggity. I almost like this one because I can do this and I can pour the glass and let you get a good look at the beer as well. I can already smell it's got a big tropical fruit head on it. Look at that. It's commercial.
Hop dang diggity.
Delicious.
Nice. It's just a. Actually, I was gonna say it's not even hazy. It's pretty darn clear. Amber, but clear.
Yeah, it's got.
Hmm.
I would say it's even more getting into that golden color than amber.
Could be my lighting in here too.
Yeah. Or in here.
Hmm.
But I think it's definitely got that straw beer color, that getting into that golden
Yeah,
nose
this
on
isn't
there. Go
not
ahead.
too
I'm
hoppy.
sorry.
I don't mean like it smells hoppy, but it tastes
A little more mellow.
yeah. Like it's just like a little bit of a
Like I'm bracing myself for a big hoppiness punch, and it
yeah.
doesn't come.
No, it's very subtle.
Uh-huh.
Like it's
Yeah, I
like
like it.
the bite on it is almost like like a baby arugula. Like it's just like a little bit of like, oh okay, I'm fine. Like
Like
it's
a warm spring day at the Masters. Very southern, very traditional.
very erudite. I like that. At the Masters. After
Yes.
this, we're going to breed some horses.
Yes.
No, that actually I can add that to my list of. Okay, yeah, that's an IPA that I can handle.
Yeah, that's not too bad.
Mhm. By the way, I didn't point it out on the live stream, but I finally figured out how to get my green screen to just be green screen for a little bit. So it's your fridge.
It's my fridge, yeah.
Yeah, you're like, look at
Although
that.
it doesn't look anything like that anymore. Like
No, yeah, that's
my
enough
fridge
proof.
is ever changing.
You got to
I'm
rotate that stuff.
constantly reorganizing it.
Okay.
All
I
right.
realize I should probably like look at the Facebook every once in a while and go, does anyone
Does
care?
anyone want to hang out with us?
Just gonna let you know. No.
Yeah, probably not. Anyway.
Nobody cares.
Yeah. Cheers to my beer tonight. Anyway, let's move on to the next beer. I forget. It seems weird we don't have anybody to talk to tonight. I usually have some musician with us to play or tell us their story right now. But we don't.
I can tell you stories. What would you like to hear stories? So we were gonna have we're gonna have our first artist on this week, and I don't know. Like we did a stand up comedian for the first time last week. I had fun. I had a great time.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
If we saw the post show, I we should not be allowed to pick up instruments after the show because I could see her disappointment. Or like, oh, we're gonna play some stuff. Like I'm too hammered. I can't.
And I'm too stupid.
Right. And I get to see like her going, oh.
Aww. Wah, wah,
Ultimate sadness. I was looking forward to that kind of disappointment this week. In a different fashion. So I'd be like,
it's a different kind of disappointment.
Right? This is more like a paternal disappointment that I'm feeling today.
Well, beer.
I'm sorry?
Our next beer is we're driving down to Gate City in Roswell.
Yeah, paint that image. Paint it.
Yeah. And this one is a Norwegian style. Ooh, I'm making the table shake. Sorry.
That was
the Norwegian style IPA. You know what? I thought about this. It's like, why do they call it American style India Pale Ale or Norwegian? Why don't you just call it a Norwegian Pale Ale?
Wait, is it Norwegian Pale Ale or Norwegian style Indian Pale Ale?
Norwegian. It says Norwegian India Pale Ale.
Oh, so it is trying to still say IPA. Because I think an IPA is.
And that's what it is. They want the IPA. This is it.
Yeah. Well, it's a category people recognize, and it sounds like for me, like I tell people, like if you're not as a hophead as Ian is, then you might like a New England IPA.
You call it a hophead, buddy.
You.
Okay.
you totally are. Oh man, come on.
Yeah, you're right. I drink the hops.
Yeah. No, I mean I'm gonna get you a hop salt lick for Christmas. Just.
I'm thinking about a hops bitters to make. Speaking of bitters, the color on this bitters that I've made is crazy,
right?
because of the green onion. It makes it look like antifreeze. I'll show it to you in a second.
I honestly think it's the rice, because
you think so?
Yeah, I know. Like, cause I was talking to someone else, like they occasionally will, depending on the wild rice brand, they will actually add dye to some of the rice to make it darker.
No, they don't do that. That's like all real wild rice comes from Minnesota. That's like the only place you can get most of your wild rice. Like 95% of wild rice comes from Minnesota, if not even more than that. Yes.
All right. I was talking to someone who knows poisons and toxins because you were afraid, and I was like, all right. So, like, no, it's probably dye.
Okay. Oh, I'm grabbing it now.
No, but it does have the color of.
If it makes you feel any better, I made wild rice for dinner. So I'm like,
Yeah.
let's do it. Let's eat them
Soda
boys. All right,
probably.
so
First though, let's look at this color.
God, that looks like when you are like trying to color like flowers or celery in grade school and you use like different colored waters.
Yeah.
That's what that water looks like. And
Isn't that crazy? It's not water though. This is high spirit alcohol.
well, look forward to that in a future week.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. This is very untapped.
Oh, you should save it for St. Patty's Day, man.
I want it to smell like the inside of a log cabin. That's what I'm really kind of going for. Some little smoke, little cedar, little wild rice, little home cooking.
Okay. I smell what you're stepping in. Are you ready for the next beer? I forgot which one it is. Is it the Labyrinth?
No, it's the Gate City. We've been doing the Oktoberfest last.
Oh, that's right.
Don't you open that?
Right. So I got distracted by like the chit chat and like I forgot. All right.
The
Das
bitters.
Fjord. Hartefjord, die Vaartefjord. All right.
The Norwegian style. Now,
hazy.
before we taste this, what I've read on it is a lot of people were comparing it to a New England style, and they said use the special kind of yeast in it, which makes it Norwegian.
It smells hoppy. Or no, sorry, it smells salty.
It smells grapefruity, and yeah, there's some salt.
Right, like Icelandic like ocean spray.
Yeah, I get the New England style. That like orange and saltine cracker combination.
I was gonna say grapefruit and salt, like it's
Yeah. But saltine, real yeasty and like doughy almost.
See, I'm getting funk, and I was about to say seaweed, but that might have just been because that's where my brain went, like image-wise.
Yeah.
But it's mouthier, like it's a fuller beer, like.
Then it looks like it, and it sits heavy too. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Whew. What are we? Is it just what's in there?
And this is a 6.3.
6.3.
Yeah, the last one was 6.7. The last one was 6.7.
Wow, this sits way heavier.
Yeah. And that's a seasonal for them.
This is breakfasty. This is like right
down
there. It tastes good. Like the malt in there, and there's probably a little extra sugar. It's just kind of hanging out, but it's
a little overdose. You'd almost think that this was a double IPA.
Yeah. If you told me that, I would be right on board.
But yeah,
still good. The thing is, like, I want to keep drinking more, but every time I do, it's hits my stomach. I'm like, oh,
yeah,
nappy time.
That's exactly, yes. It's like it just kind of puts a sleeper move on you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, almost like I'd feel weird like if this didn't come in a smaller, like an 8-ounce glass. Oh, man.
Yeah.
I'm really full.
It definitely, yeah. It's filling. That's a good way to say that.
Yeah, I mean, winter's coming, so honestly, if you set this in your fridge for a couple months and then hit it in like November, it's probably pretty.
Well, I bought this at the brewery, so I'm wondering, this is probably a fall, so they're probably still running this one. This will probably be through at least the end of this month.
Sure. Yeah.
Or I got everything they're trying to get rid of.
This is from last year.
So let's get the clearance on this stuff. All right. Next one. Are we ready to move?
Wait, hold on. Yes, but I think when you went live, that's now on Facebook. Like 7 seconds
Really?
of just your wooden table where you're putting the beer
Yeah.
right now. That's Samsonite.
It's way off.
You know what? I think we're either going to use
Let's
an intermediary.
enter
Or
Das Labyrinth.
we're going to move to YouTube after this and just post it back to Facebook.
Yeah. That might be the
Sorry,
better way to
Facebook.
do it.
Sorry.
You lost us tonight. Probably get more subscribers on YouTube anyway.
I don't know. But I mean, we get a lot of our viewers post-show.
Yeah. Let's move to Das Labyrinth.
Das Labyrinth. Yeah.
I'm going to use the glass I've been using for all the...
Und wie meet David Bowie und Muppets.
Yeah. So the notes that I got on this, it's a 5.7, so this is a little higher. This is a little bigger.
Oh, it's that perfect. Sorry, I interrupted. It's a good color.
Yeah.
Good. That kind of reddy amber. Oh. It smells a little fruity.
It smells industrial to me.
Really?
It smells like when you walk into a brewery.
So this to me smells a little bit. I mean, I hate to say it's like light, but also almost like like Sprite or like a lambic. Like there's just like a slight citric, but sort of fruity, sugary nose.
Okay.
I also might be having a stroke.
This one is definitely a Marzen. So here's the notes I have on it. It's got toasty caramel, or caramel, however you like to say it.
Caramel.
It's got a firm but clean bitterness and a velvety mouthfeel.
I've been described that way. Ooh. Wow.
Yeah.
No, I mean
that's
was
it's like
right on.
It's got like almost like an iced tea quality to it.
I mean, I was gonna go back to my lambic reference. It's a little bit of a raspberry iced tea, not a lot. There's a little bit of fruit. I think what they say caramel, I'm getting slightly fruitier than them.
Yeah, it's got a nice dark color to it, but even darker than amber.
Oh yeah, I actually don't know what color that is. Brown citrine. This is when all my art friends go, not even close.
How about that? How about that for a commercial?
That looks good. That looks good. I like that. And honestly, like this flavor, like it's got that little malty or caramelly sweetness. It's got the bite, but the way it finishes, like it bites, and then it's this great leveling off to just a little like of that residual sweetness. But it lingers, but it's like that. It's just a sweetness linger. It's nice, and not like a sugary sweetness, just like.
It's getting you ready for a hayride.
Oh, so you know what I was gonna say is like when you eat Wheaties, and like you've chewed on it, you swallowed, but there's like a little bit stuck in your teeth, and you can just get like those carbs breaking down subtly into like a little bit of sugar in your mouth. So it's not actually sweet, but you get like some of that just kind of in there lingering. That's how this lingers. I thought too hard about that. Mm.
All
Oh,
right.
man. That's cray. I like that. That's clever.
Since we were going to have the artist on tonight, we were going to get all crazy and fancy with our liquor.
Oh wait. I still have us going 5.7. That's not bad for a tall boy.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to have an artist, and my plan was to not have had seen any of their art, and to go through a little bit of an art appreciation. Now, obviously, there's no artist with us. Excuse me. But I have selected a few pieces that we can go and appreciate.
Oh,
So-
really? Are you going to put them up on the screen behind you?
Oh yes. No, I was actually going to do a screen share screen thing.
Okay.
So I'm actually going to go ahead and start that up. So I selected two pieces this evening that we're going to go over.
Oh, shit.
And
Damn it.
so oh, Ian has sprung a leak, several leaks. They are all leakity. He's getting leakered up. Is that how we say that?
Yeah, there you go. Oh
Uh,
my god.
That you don't need any absinthe now. I'm all getting into my serious art talk, and Ian's over there. I didn't know you like to get wet.
Yeah. Oh my god. That was fun. That was
Good
embarrassing.
job, Sean. Solid training day reference. Thank you. Oh man. I guess I could have switched into screen share so you wouldn't have to have had that recorded, but I didn't, and I'm glad I saw that.
Yeah, we're glad you saw that too. Nice.
All right, so of course, inspired by just thinking about artists, I'm like, oh, this would be a good absinthe show. So we're gonna do French classic absinthe serving, which is what Ian sort of did just now. We're gonna do the more modern Czech service, and we're also gonna do a Sazerac. So before we start pouring that one, yeah, no,
We're going to French first, right? Oh, what happened?
well, we're gonna do one art appreciation. So before you start that up,
Okay.
just because I want people to be able to see that. So if I have the screen share up, that'll disappear. So we're gonna do the art real quick,
Okay.
and then we'll switch back, and you can start the drip. Okay.
Okay.
Share screen. Okay. So right now on our screens, I am sharing The Girl with a Pearl Earring by Johann Vermeer. Das thou see? He's Dutch, but whatever. I don't know any Dutch. All right. You ready?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. All right, cool. So, Vermeer, highly renowned classical painter, very, very, very much into doing still lifes, portraits, having a lot to do with light. Like light was his big thing. But when looking at any painting, and there's not a wrong way to look at a painting or a piece of art. It's really thinking about like where your eye is drawn to when you first look at the painting, and it can be anywhere. You can be like, for me, it's right around her forehead and her eyes. I'm like, wow, that's really cool. And of course, it's called A Girl with a Pearl Earring, so I look for a pearl earring. And then I
Okay.
notice like how her headdress kind of drapes in the back and how that's catching light. So
Where's
where's your
that
eye
light?
drawn?
Yeah, okay. So the light.
Well, so there's the kind of the ways that the weird thing about like looking at a painting is also being objective and realizing that that how you're looking at it. So it's kind of weird, but like you go, Okay, yeah. So I'm like, oh, well, my eyes are going there. So the artist must have wanted me to do that. And then asking yourself, well, why would an artist want me to look there or there? Or what's the point of me looking there first and then observing these other things? And that's the very tiny encapsulation of what you're supposed to be or how you could be drawing meaning from paintings or sculpture or architecture.
You know, what else? What is this girl thinking?
It's a good point. She does kind of look like she's like slightly looking over her shoulder in a not so.
Like, why is this guy making me do this?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I mean, it could be. It could be. I hate to say like some sort of a curious disinterest.
Yeah,
Like I want to know why he's doing this, but I'm also not interested.
yeah. Or like, can we hurry up and get this over with?
Mm. Or like because her lips a little bit open, like she's about to say something. Like,
Mm-hmm.
are we done? Was
And
you
with
done
that,
painting? Oh, okay.
no, I'm just
You did.
kidding.
Oh, that's fine. I mean, I do happen to like this painting, but I also just
I know I
like.
like this painting. I think this is a great selection.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, and I mean, so I actually got to see this at a whole exhibit of Vermeer when I was in Amsterdam, because there's a whole the whole museum is dedicated to him, but most of it has his stuff, and just the way it looks like his pictures are lit they're just fun to look at. Like I stared at a bowl of fruit for like 10 minutes. I was like, a painted bowl of fruit. And I'm like, this is just it looks really good. So yeah.
That was
So,
probably just the absinthe speaking.
I was in Amsterdam, so it was not the absinthe.
Everything else.
Right. I do also happen to have a 10-minute video of me walking upstairs, which is weird because I only went up 3 flights of stairs. I don't know how I managed that. It's a good time. It's a good time. All right, so I'm going to stop the screen share, and we're going to switch to our first of 2 preparations of absinthe, the French style.
How does this look? Is that a good shot right there?
I think that is a great shot. I like it. Oh, I just found that piece of ice that I dropped like 40.
All right, so I have
ago.
one of these fancy. Don't ask me how I got it, but it's got a nice slow speed, so you can make the water go as slow or fast as you want, as you saw when it was just dripping all over the table. But so I was reading that the best way is to have the slow drip right on top of the sugar cube, and it'll eventually dissolve into the absinthe and start changing the color of the absinthe to more of an opaque color. Now this absinthe here is pretty light in color already. See, that sugar cube beats down actually a lot faster than we thought it was going to go.
So I also have some absinthe. And since I don't have a dripper, I'm going to go ahead and just
I got something Sean doesn't have.
Right. I think I saw one once for sale, and I mean I would have been like 22, and not in a position that I could have spent like $50 on a crystal, even if it was used and at an antique store, like a crystal serving absinthe server. So I'm going to go ahead and just pour 2 ounces of absinthe.
Yeah, I don't see the color change going on here.
It's going to take you at least a couple ounces to get into it. I think I can see some at the bottom. So, I
see a little sugar building up at the bottom.
So I'm going to get into it actually a little bit with this one, since I can see you're concerned. I'm going to take I'm a homemade sugar cube, which is really just get a couple drops of water in your sugar, stir it together, kind of compact it. It'll look a little slushy, like wet sand. And you're supposed to let it sit overnight and dry. I put it in an oven at like 175 for 4 hours and then let it cool. But I made a sugar cube as well. So what you do want, and what Ian just mentioned, is you want the lushering. Oh man, I already forgot how to pronounce the word.
Lushing.
But the lushing, you want the cloudiness to happen. It's what happens with ouzo. It's what happens with absinthe. What happens
Starting to
with,
come now.
Pernod. And that usually happens like you have to start to get into like a 1.5 to 2 to 1 ratio of water to your spirit. And technically, or if you go to most reviews sites how to drink it, most people, like especially the French, want a 3 or a 5 to 1 water to absinthe ratio in their glass. So I actually just have like a little tiny pitcher of cold ice water, and I'm going to pour that a little bit faster over my cube because, well, I don't have a dripper. But I'm already getting that lushing effect, which is quite nice. That looks beautiful. I'm excited for this. I tried it just a little bit earlier with a smaller piece, and I really liked it. So the nice thing that Ian's going to get is his cube is going to fully dissolve, well, at least off the spoon. Mine will not, partly because it's giant. But what you would do is with just a tiny bit of sugar left, or it completely dissolved and going into your glass.
I wish I had one of your cubes, to be honest with you. That would be cool with this.
Right. Well, we can do this maybe again. What you would do with these little spade spoons is you would actually then dip it into your glass and then stir it up to make sure everything is completely dissolved and come together. And I'm going to switch back up to my regular cam. Ta-da. And you get this nice, milky, almost opaque color. Oh. See, that's really good. So most absinthe is higher proof. And it's meant to be drank like a simple cocktail, watered down and sugared up a little bit. So this is, a lot of people say, "Oh, I don't like absinthe." They're like, "Well, probably because you're drinking it wrong." Like, it's not supposed to be raw and unadulterated. You're supposed to water it down. You're supposed to water it down, people.
You're supposed to do something to it.
Right. So, I think yours is still going, right?
It's almost done. I may add another sugar cube because I didn't have enough. There's not nearly as much water as there probably should be.
Okay. Well, if you want to, okay. Do you want to jump?
And we can do the Czech one as well.
All right. We'll jump into the Czech service or ritual.
No, the Czech ritual will definitely have more of a higher proof than the absinthe that we're using. I think that the absinthe has a limit in the United States of how much you can be proof with it.
It could be, and it's of course the Czechs were distillers later on of absinthe and changed up in their ingredients, but also made it much higher test so that they could do what you're about to do.
Yeah.
So this is the.
So I'm gonna change it up just a touch.
Yeah.
I'm gonna use, and I know while we're watching this one, I'm gonna do side by side. Oh, I made it mad. This is why we don't use the gimbal.
You broke the thing. Oh, gimbals.
Yes. Well, that one's going.
Oh man.
We've got the second sugar cube going on it. I'm not going to use, though, absinthe to dip the sugar cube. I'm going to use something that will ignite. I'm going to use my good old Nikolai bitters making stuff.
Right, because so like the Czech method would be lighting your cube on fire that's been soaked in the super high proof Czech absinthe, and well, we can't get it.
Light on fire.
That's why Ian's using the Fire Starter. King Instigator.
So
I'm just gonna keep sipping my absinthe.
Get that cube. And then I'll also put the, and I'm using, I don't know which one you're using, Sean. You're using Lucid tonight.
Mhm.
I'm using Oregon Spirit Absinthe Original. So I'm using an American, actually, out of Oregon.
Yeah, and this is actually, mine is imported French, but also bottled in Oregon.
See, now look at that. It's getting real cloudy now.
Oh yeah, yeah.
We're going to get to this one. So first, I'm going to take that sugar cube and dip it. Get a good coating and a good soaking of it in that grain alcohol, high spirit. This is 190 proof, so this should go.
Mm-hmm. And while Ian's doing that, part of the reason that this gets done is because the Czech absinthe doesn't have like the extra herbs and additives that would make it turn opaque in water. So besides being a really fun, showy way to serve absinthe, it also,
And
the
you need
lighting
one.
and the firing adds some clouding to the absinthe itself. So that looks really cool with the frame rate of these webcams.
Yeah.
Like I can kind of see it.
Well, you don't see the top in the other cam.
Not quite. No. The top of it kind of looks like the flame person from the Futurama episode with the solar alderman.
So we're going to let this go until it caramelizes. I might not let it saturate enough.
I'm surprised it's not caramelizing yet. I mean, I don't know how long it would take, to
Oh,
be
it's
honest.
starting to drip now.
You know, pop it in, see what happens.
Now I'm going to let the fire go out first before I do that. It's
Oh,
dripping
so
in now.
you're supposed to light it on fire. That's not that this one necessarily would actually light on fire, but so what you would do is drop it in there. Whoop, there it goes.
Yep, it does light on fire.
Yes. And then you would put it out with some water. Or burn the hair off your hand.
I did do that.
So you'd pop it in there. It would light on fire. It looks beautiful. And then you'd pour in the water to put it out. And look at that. It's gotten a little cloudy. And then you'd stir it up with your spoon. And actually, I like that as a side by side because it has gotten cloudy, but it's obviously not the same kind of cloudy you'd get with a French absinthe. Excuse me. But it's close. Like it does do it. Of course, you are using the same absinthe, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're using a Czech, it wouldn't quite do it. But there, look at that. That's a milky white. That's gonna put you under, cloudy.
So I'm going to beat you down, Cloudy.
Right.
We'll see. I haven't tasted either one yet now.
Oh no, you haven't. Oh, so I've been sipping on this because it's weird. I don't remember having or liking absinthe like this, but this is nice. And I think it's partly the watering down. It's like, oh yeah, the flavor's stretched out. It's not as bad. It does have a slight numbing quality on your tongue. I noticed this earlier today too when I tried it out. It's just my tongue went a little numb.
I'll try the Czech first.
All right, check 1, 2.
It's a little warm. It's very black jelly bean.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm kind of used to that flavor now.
Whew.
How we doing, Mr. French?
It's almost done. I could probably just drop this sugar cube. I've got enough water in here.
Yeah, I mean, you're the coloring on it looks pretty good.
Yep.
And I will say, like, as we're kind of looking at it and talking about it, is I've had a lot of different kind of absinthes, and I'm not as big of a fan of American style ones. Something different about them.
This one definitely gives you like a almost more of a creaminess. It feels like it definitely gives you a different kind of like feeling, like a
Yeah.
like a warm feeling on your whole body. Just taking the tiniest sips of it.
Are you getting any sort of weird mouth feel? Like,
Yep, like a tingle.
okay, cool. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's exactly
Like almost
what
like
I'm
a
getting.
numbing, like almost like
Yeah.
numbing your tongue.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. That is also what I'm getting.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Ha ha.
Huh. Wow.
Oh, that's good.
Interesting.
What was there was another thought I had in there. I mean, like I said, I think I mentioned it pre-show. Like, I had this whole book on like the history of absinthe, and you'd mentioned like wanting to do the Czech style for the shows. Yeah, cool. And, like, when did that happen? Like, I don't remember the Czech being that big of a thing, but it turns out like the Czech style wasn't really invented until the mid to late '90s. And not
Okay.
that that's a bad thing. Modern interpretations often are better than old ones, but it was kind of a marketing thing, and partly because there wasn't the same kind of content in Czech or other absinthe as there was in the French. But it looks freaking cool. Not that I'm honestly not that a fluted water tower with little spigots that you can kind of go, oh, what's going on over there? Like, that's a romantic, showy kind of cool. Like, yeah.
See, and I wonder though also it's got a rougher taste to it, definitely than the French style. But I
Right.
wonder if it's because I added the high spirit to it.
I mean,
Yeah, and
it
there was
could be,
2
but you didn't
sugar
use.
cubes in this one.
You didn't. Oh, it could be the sugar cubes. I say
Yeah.
you didn't use all that much spirit, and I think a lot of it probably burned off.
Yeah.
I think the French style. I mean, it's kind of like one of those things when you take your time and you quote unquote do it right,
Yeah.
you get a different experience from it. That's certainly what I feel like I'm getting here.
Let me see yours again. Is it the same kind of color?
Yeah, I think mine might be a little lighter. Let me get it up to the out of the a little bit more. Yeah, yours is a
Yeah,
little
you
more.
cannot see through this one.
Oh yeah, you can't see through mine either.
Yeah.
I think mine might be a little whiter. But
Mine
I
looks
think I
like
might have added a
watered
little
down
more.
milk.
Same, with a slight green tinge.
Yeah.
Like it's
Like
milk, but it
Luke
turns out it's made from sea
milk.
moss.
Luke Skywalker's milk.
All right. It weirded me out for a second. I'm like, what is he talking about?
Okay, now that it sits a little bit too, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But the ritual is cool.
I say the ritual is cool. Modern, commercial.
Yeah. Well, even the
cool.
French one. That I've got this thing. Now we've got to come over and do one of these one day. Like all four, like have 4 people do the whole thing.
Right. We'll
Like
call
the
that
band
episode
do it.
Absinthe Minded.
Ha!
Yeah.
We'll have to come up with like some different absinthe cocktails instead of the classic one that Sean's about to show us right now.
I am. Thank you for that lovely segue, Ian.
Yeah.
So, I am a fan of and have made cocktails based around the Sazerac, and the Sazerac is a classic Rollins American cocktail, very similar to the old fashioned, but definitely distinct in its own right, and in that it uses absinthe and supposedly fairly like 80 to 90%. Yeah, it came out of New Orleans. So, what it
Yeah,
is?
that's where you get them from, New Orleans. Yeah, definitely.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's not 100% historical accuracy, but I mean, they actually voted in 2008 to make it their, like their state drink. So,
Really,
yeah.
they ain't got enough the hurricane and all that other shit there. The hand grenade. That's what I go to New Orleans. I go for the hand grenade.
Oh, jeez.
That'll get you smashed quick.
For sure. So the classic way of doing it is getting a rocks glass and doing a wash or a rinse. And I read a bunch of these recipes. I've made it a bunch of times, but I've seen a lot of people do what I just did and dump a little bit of it out or dump it all out. I like the absinthe flavor, so what I try to do is get it all around the glass, and then do the next part that you're supposed to do is then just fill it with ice.
So you're just trying to rinse the glass with a little bit of absinthe.
Right. So you rinse it. I'm going to leave it in there. And
Oh,
let the ice...
shit. Look at me. I'm pouring that like I'm spilling everywhere tonight. Golly.
Oh, man. So you throw the ice in there to start chilling the glass down. Then, in a separate glass that is uniced and unabsinthed, we're going to put in a sugar cube, another one of my homemade ones. I'm going to switch cams. Don't mind the Ian cleaning up his mess.
Yeah.
All right, so we got our sugar cube. We're going to do 3 dashes of Peychaud's bitters. That lovely orangey bitters. I'm going to do just a tiny splash of water, just to help with breaking up this cube. And 2 ounces of rye whiskey. Now, initially, this cocktail was made with cognac, but there was...
You're right, I read that.
Yep. So there was starting to be a shortage of cognac, harder to get, and so they switched to rye, which is plentiful coming down. Come on, Sean, River, Mississippi.
So you use the Peychaud bitters. How much do you
Peychaud's
use?
bitter? 3 dashes. Now there was a apothecary. What would you call that? A guy whose name was Peychaud's, who was making this bitters as kind of a cure-all, a tonic in New Orleans, and he wasn't too far from a bar that actually served cocktails. And there's discrepancies as to whether or not someone took his bitters and made cocktails, or if he was a regular and he's like, you should use my bitters. But it ended up being that there was some sort of mixing and participation between the two, and this ended up getting used in a cocktail down there.
How much rye did you say again, Sean?
I used 2 ounces. I've seen anything from 1.5 ounces to 2.5 ounces, so I went 2 ounces. So since my
the bitters and the bitters and the I'm using a shaker. I was told to use a shaker. So the bitters and the rye in the shaker. Rinse the glass with absinthe.
Don't shake it. I mean, you can stir it in the shaker, but don't shake it.
Don't shake it. Just stir it.
That's slap your mama kind of stuff.
Gotcha. Okay. I'm not slacking on you.
Okay. So I waited to add my ice just because my sugar cubes were much harder from being homemade and weirdly baked. But breaking up the sugar cube with the bitters and the whiskey, adding some ice, stirring it to chill it down. And once you've got that mixed, take your glass that you have absinthe rinsed. Because it took us a minute, I'm just going to give it a quick twist again to make sure that I got all my absinthe around. Dump your ice out of the chilled glass and strain your cocktail mixture into your glass that had the wash in it.
Your wash is supposed to have the in the chilled glass, right?
Yeah, your wash is in the glass that had the ice and the absinthe. And then you dump the ice out and pour your now stirred mixture.
Did you re-absinthe it again?
I didn't. I gave it a quick spin while the ice was still in there, just because we were
Okay.
taking a second to talk about the cocktail.
Gotcha.
And it's about, oh my god.
And then just pour the ice that you've been mixing the whole thing into the glass.
I strain it, so you leave the ice in the glass that you
Served up
mixed
neat.
in.
Gotcha.
And then the last thing I'm doing is cutting a lemon to get a twist off of there to put in the glass. And I give it a little twist of Rooney. Squeeze. A little expression of the oils. Yeah. Nice. Kiss it around the side. Blob it in. And you blob it in. And so we have a classic Sazerac. Cheers. Of course, I inhale. Oh, don't inhale. Woo.
I didn't inhale. I never inhaled.
Gracious. Oh.
No one came and hung out with us, did they?
Mm-mm. And I haven't checked Facebook, say, in a minute, so not bad. I have 2 notifications, though, so that could have been it. The Buried Traveler has 2 new views. He's live now. Hey, we were live 57 minutes ago. Good for us.
Good for us.
But honestly, it's probably one of my favorite versions of the cocktail I've made. So, like, besides, like, my take on it. Like, of just doing a classic Sazerac. I don't think I ever did the chilled ice wash before.
Yeah.
It does make a difference. I hate to say it.
I do like this. Yeah, this is good.
This taste is what made me fall in love with it. Like, and I don't particularly favor rye. And I use the rye we did last week, the Old Forester 100 proof.
You know, I used my fave.
I was gonna get Bullet.
The good old Bullet.
I think this was cheaper. But no, this is a good cocktail. Weirdly orange, or orangey red.
Yeah. And that's the bitters.
Mm-hmm.
Because the
That's
bitters
the
is red.
The bitters is like Peychaud's is like a condensed Aperol. It's that tingy red, slightly orangey, more orangey for a bitters flavor. And honestly, there's not a lot of cocktails that I like it in. Peychaud's. You have to be really selective with how you use it, but in a Sazerac, it's really good. So while we're sipping on this, let's do one more art appreciation.
Okay, yeah. Let's see what you got.
No.
Hope it's dogs playing poker. I like that one.
Dang it, that actually would have been pretty funny.
It was either that or the Goodfellas painting where it's like, this one dog's looking this one way and the other dog's looking the other. And this guy's like, what do you want from me?
So this is what I've selected. This is called He Was a Friend of Mine by Jack Owen. Now, again, for me, my eye gets drawn to the grumpy cat.
Yeah.
Slowly it draws out across the hill and the river, and then I realize there's a corgi in the clouds. I go, that's fucking hilarious. Well, actually, we're not really live, so screw it.
You can bleep that out later.
I won't.
Mr. Clean Living.
It takes effort. Oh, yeah. So, you know what? I feel good. So,
God,
so this is obviously...
The absinthe fucking gets you, doesn't it?
Oh, it does. It does for sure. What I do like about this painting, besides its weird soft watercolors and the grumpy cat, is that this is... Actually, do you have anything to say about it? I'm sorry. I didn't let you participate.
I'll say this. I can see the cat and and I see the title of the painting. He was a friend of mine, and it makes me change the way I'm looking at the cat, to be honest with you. At first, you're looking at the cat kind of grumpy and whatever, and then you say he was a friend of mine, and it looks like, he probably had fighting. They didn't get along all the time, but the dog might, for whatever reason, is not around anymore, and the cat does feel mourning for that.
Yeah, I like that. That's beautiful. So this is from the last one, the Vermeer painting, from the guy who did all those famous paintings. This is from a website and a physical museum called the Museum of Bad Art, MOBA. And what I like about it, I was introduced to this when I was an undergrad in theater, and we had to do all these sort of takes on what art is and define art and all this necessary but tedious observation. And so we were pointed to all these works from this website, and this was posted in March 2007. I was doing this back in 2002, 2003. What it got to me is then the whole point was like, look, art comes from anywhere. Art can be anything, and art is whatever you like or don't like. It's fine. So a lot of the stuff they find are like, this says purchased by M. Frank at a Boston thrift store. Cool. You know what? Some people think it's trash and they throw it out or they donate it, and then someone else picks it up and goes, "This is awesome." Yeah. And that,
I wouldn't hang it on my wall, but I can appreciate it.
right? Honestly, it's a cute thought. It's pretty decently executed.
It's a cat remembering the dog he was forced to live with.
And I like it. I like it because the cat has an angry look, and cats and dogs are natural enemies.
Yeah.
So having him like kind of angrily contemplating, going, "Yeah, you know what? We were forced to live in the same house. And God, I hate it, but I miss him."
A friend of mine. He was
right.
He was part of this household. I would,
Right. You could imagine like whichever one passes away first, like Nancy Pelosi or Trump, but the other one going, "Oh."
Well, it's like all the tweets today, like Joe Biden's tweeting, like wishing him the best as he's going to the hospital. That's some crazy shit, to be honest with you. It's like they're comparing that to like Reagan getting shot, like a sitting president being rushed to the hospital by helicopter.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. Joe Biden is a grumpy cat. Well, I think that that finishes our official show.
Yeah.
Do you have any last words? Or should I do the last words first? That's normally
the last words.
Yeah.
You'll meet your end someday.
Oh, I've met my end before. Yes. Mustache twirl. Yes.
I'll get you back someday. I'll see you in hell.
I'll be there. Well, I'll tell you what, I'll do the little pimping promoting. So next week, we'll have Andrea Miller of Highclere Castle Gin on, and we're going to drink some gin. And I'm excited because she's a rep I've known in the Atlanta area for a long time.
And gin will get you back in.
Gin will get you back in.
Gin will get you back in.
And appreciate Sensia, because I'm still drinking the water they donated to us way back when. Thank you. And also, since this video itself is not getting live streamed, it'll get posted anywhere between an hour and 24 hours after it's recorded because, absinthe.
Absinthe. Absinthe.
Oh, my goodness. So you can find us on Facebook, facebook.me/The Beery Traveler. You can find us on Instagram, _Beery_Traveler. You can find us on Twitter, Beery_Traveler. You can find us on Patreon and support us, patreon.com/Beery Traveler, and online on our website, thebeerytraveler.beer. There's a lot of things to remember there, people. It's a lot. But if you're in the Atlanta, actually any area, but specifically Atlanta, because that helps us out, or in the Southeast and you want to come on, send us an email, send us a message on any of those platforms. Reach out to us. We'd love to have you on and have some beer and cocktails with you.
Yeah. You know what? The artists that missed out tonight, we'd had you floored. We'd had you cutting your ear off before the end of the night.
What are we looking
Well,
for?
with that, we're looking for good times and great beers. My name is Ian. This is Sean. I'm Beery Traveler. Y'all have a great night. We'll see you next Friday. If we can get online. If we can get online somewhere.
We'll figure it out.
We'll do it. Good night.